Hello everyone, welcome to lecture series of Programming for Problem Solving. In this video, I am going to give brief introduction about the course. So myself, I am K. Kiran Kumar, working as Assistant Professor in Computer Science and Engineering Department of Vignan's Foundation for Science, Technology and Research. So today I am going to cover what are the different concepts related to our course, that is our Programming for Problem Solving. So our course name is Programming for Problem Solving and subject code is 19CS102. So topics to be covered in this video session: what are the main course objectives and description about the course, and course outcomes, and what are the job opportunities by learning this course, whatever the job opportunities that we will get, and coming to what is the syllabus of this particular course. This video is purely we are going to tell what are the objectives and outcomes and what are the job opportunities that we will get by learning this type of courses, and what is the syllabus of this particular course. This course is we are offering for first year BTech students. So first one, course description and objectives. First, course description. Our course is Programming for Problem Solving. So the title indicates Programming for Problem Solving. If you closely observe the title, it indicates we are going to solve some problems through programming. So we know the problems may be mathematical problems or logical problems, whatever you take. So we are going to solve those type of problems through programming. So you know what is a programming? Programming is nothing but some set of instructions that we can write within a computer in order to get the specific behavior from the computer. So set of statements in the form of programs we will write by learning the programming languages. We will write the programs in order to solve some set of problems, either mathematical or logical. We are going to solve those problems with the help of programs. So programs we are going to write to solve the problems. So how we will solve the problems with the computer? Through programs. Okay. How we will communicate the program, how we will write the programs with the help of programming languages. So why we need these programs and programming to solve the mathematical problems? You had a doubt, sir, we are solving the problems. Why can't we solve the problems manually? Why we have to solve the programs through programming only? These type of doubts may arise. I will tell you. So for example, 3, anyone can say it is a 6. But when we ask for the same operation, what is 120 factorial, it may take some time. You know, when nobody can answer this type of questions. Why? Because it is the largest complex operation. Okay, so if anyone asks 120 factorial value, we cannot give the value instantly. Why? Because this type of operations, it is a complex operation. Sometimes as a human beings we will do mistakes also. If anyone has given some time, we can calculate the 120 factorial also and we will give the value. But it takes more time, and also it may be a chance for getting inaccurate values also. So this is the only reason, if you go for this particular 120 factorial to any device, that is electronic device, either calculator or our computer, it gives the value within a fraction of seconds. That is the main advantage of machines. So if you go for largest complex operation as a human beings, if you go for manually, there is a chance for occurring inaccurate values. But we go for machines or computer, we will get some accurate values. That is the only reason we are working with machines. They will reduce our burdens, and largest operations they will done easily. So in this way we have to communicate with the machines. In the same way, when we want to communicate with the machines, how we can communicate? Through programming only. So that is our subject. So if you want to solve the largest complex problems, it will be possible with the computer through programming only. That is our course called Programming for Problem Solving. So in this curriculum, we are going to offer this type of programming course that is called Programming for Problem Solving in our curriculum. So coming to next one. So this is the course objectives. If you go for course objectives, so the first course objective, the objectives of the course indicates that what are the main important benefits that the students will get through by learning these type of courses. The first course objective is in this course we are going to the student is going to learn the basic fundamentals of programming language called as C language. So this particular course, Programming for Problem Solving, officially known as C language, while studying this type of course, the students will get more basic fundamentals of how to do the programming, how to develop the programs. They will get the basic fundamental concepts of C programming language. That is the first important course objective. And second important objective is in that context, while he was learning the basic fundamental concepts, the students will learn what are the data types that we are using for programming, what are the operators that we are using for programming, and what are the decision making statements, and what are the looping statements, that means iterative statements, and how we can store the data in the structures, data structures is sequentially, what are the static and dynamic data structures, are all these fundamental concepts that the students will learn in order to develop the programming skills to interact with the computer. And coming to third course objective, after learning this course, the student will have an ability to write the programs, to debug the programs, and to test the programs in an effective way. So how he can write the programs? He after learning this course, the student will write the programs by following any software, programming language software. He will get an ability to write the programs in an easiest way, and also he will after writing the program, he will debug the program with the help of compilers. It is also a software to what is a debugging means, if there any errors are there in my program, he has an ability to check those errors, and also he will design the program what he has written with the help of flowcharts. So he will design the program diagrammatically what he has developed with the help of flowcharts, and he has an ability to design the program also. And after that he will test his program by applying different test cases. That means giving a normal input, what is the output we are getting, giving abnormal input, what output you are getting. By applying different test cases, the student will have the ability to test his program by learning this type of programming courses. So these are the possibilities of objectives that we will get through this programming language. So the student will have an ability to write after learning this course. He has an ability to write simple and understandable programs, and he will have an ability to develop diagrammatical programs with the help of flowcharts. He will design the program, and also he will implement the program by two processes called debugging and testing. He will debug his program with the help of compilers, and he will test his program with the help of test cases. So these are the possible objectives that we cover under this course called Programming for Problem Solving. And coming to next one, what are the course outcomes of this particular course? First of all, we have to know what is a course outcome. Course outcomes are nothing but it describes the measurable and observable knowledge or skills to the students in an effective way. So the course outcomes are always describing what are the measurable and what are the observable and meaningful knowledge or skills that the students will achieve through the course. Those are nothing but course outcomes. And our course also having some of set of course outcomes, that is, whenever a student have learned this type of course, the students can easily write a sample and complete program by learning this course. He will write the programs in a simple way, and also he will learn the complete programs, how to write it with the help of our course called Programming for Problem Solving. So coming to second one, after in the process of learning, he will identify what data types that we have to use, what data types that we have to use, and which operands will be used for the data types. He will clearly identify in order to perform some mathematical operations. And also if you go for evaluation of the expressions, he will design the expressions, and also he will evaluate the expressions by following some set of rules called operator precedence rules and associativity rules. I will tell you one example here. For example, if you take y is equal to mx plus c, generally we will write with this in this statement m into x plus c, like that in our programming. So if you go for this particular expression, while learning this course, the student will learn which operator that have to perform first and which operator I have to perform next. For example, here you have multiplication operator and we have addition operator. Which operator he has to which operation he has to done first and which operation he has to done next, and also from which side, from left to right or right to left, I have to follow. So that thing also we will clearly learn by following the associativity rules concept in our programming. So what I am going to tell is the student has a clear identification, that means which data types and which operands and which operators has to be used if you go for any mathematical operation in programming. And also the student has an ability to design the expressions, evaluating the expressions by following operator precedence and associativity rules. And coming to the third one, and students have some applicable knowledge also they will gain. That means by applying some iterative statements, by applying some decision making statements in our programming, to learn the programming in an effective way. What is the decision making statements? What are the iterative statements that we will cover in the syllabus? Okay, so these are the course objectives, some of the course objectives. And coming to next one, again we have some more course objectives are also there. The students have an ability to store the data. How we can store the data? For example, a simple mathematical operations that we will done by storing it in a small registers. But when we go for largest complex operations, somewhere we have to store the data. So where we can store the data, that thing also the student will learn by learning this type of course. That means here in this course we will the students will learn to store the data statically or dynamically by following different data structures. So he will select some based on the problem specific whether I am going to store this data in static way or dynamic way with the help of some data structures called as arrays and structures. So with those data structures, the students will learn how to store the data in a static way, in a dynamic way based on the problem specific. So this is also one of the course outcome. And also the students will design and develop recursive and non-recursive functions in order to develop the modular programming concept. What is a modular programming? For example, my variable is one place and another variable is in another place. I want to transfer the values from one position to one place to another place in my program, and I have to divide my programs into different modules based on the user requirements. Then there is a need for modular programming. In that context, when you go for modular programming, the student has an ability to develop a design and developing the recursive and non-recursive functions. Recursive means function calling itself, it is a recursive, and other functions are calling another function. So this is about recursive and non-recursive functions when we are using. So the student will be able to design and develop these type of recursive and non-recursive functions in order to build modular programming concept. And coming to last one, after all these outcomes, the student will be able to develop a small programs but complete programs, and he will have a good knowledge on how to develop the programs, how to write the programs, and also he will develop a clear, understandable and maintainable programs in order to get the specific behavior from the computer. So he will develop the programs which is very much understandable, which is very much debuggable, and which is very much maintainable and also observable programs that we will do to solve the problems within a computer. So all these course objectives are mainly focused on how to write the programs, and how to design the programs, and how to debug the programs, and how to test the programs with a clear understandable format, with a clear maintainable format, in order to solve the problems through programming. So this is about course objectives of this course, course outcomes of this course. And coming to next one, job opportunities. So what are the what type of opportunities that we will get in our career while learning this type of courses? So I told you this is completely programming language, officially known as it is a C language. If you learn this type of courses, the students will have a opportunity to get placed in a multinational companies like TCS, Infosys, Capgemini, Virtusa. Like that, there are multinational companies are there. If you learn this type of programming languages, if you have a command, if you have an expert to write the programs in order to get the specific solution, you will definitely get an opportunity to place as a you will have a successful IT professional career in the multinational companies like TCS and Infosys. And also, and coming to, if you not only learning, if you are an expert in that programming languages, you will have a successful IT professional career, and as well as you had an opportunity to start up your own your own software company also by hiring different programmers. You had an opportunity to start your new IT company also, if you are expert in any one of the programming language. But if you want to learn, if you want to become an expert of any one of the programming language, you first of all you have to know this particular basic fundamental programming language called C language. Our course is programming for problem solving. So this is about job opportunities, and this particular subject is generally we think this particular subject is related to computer science engineering graduates, or something we will think like that. But this particular programming language is not only for computer science engineering students. Other core branch students also they will learn this course, and they will also have an opportunity to place in a multinational companies. Even that's why we have started this particular subject in our other non-core branches like ECE, EEE, mechanical. All particular branch students, they will learn this course in order to become a good software engineer in a multinational company. Okay, so these are the job opportunities that we will get by learning this course. Coming to next one, syllabus of course. I am going for the syllabus of course. What are the contents that we have in the syllabus of our curriculum in order to learn this particular programming solving in an effective way. So I am going to tell the syllabus unit wise. You please go through it. And so first unit 1, it is completely based on 3 topics. One is what is the introduction to C programming language, and what are the main building blocks called as C tokens of programming language, and what are the data types that we cover under this course. These are the main 3 concepts. So the first one, we will go for introduction to C. In this concept, we will cover what is a program, how we will do the programming. If you want to write the program, how many possible sections are there, what is the complete structure of a C program. In that section, we will cover what are the possible sections that we have to write the program in an effective way. And coming to, in that process, what are the pre-directive statements that we will use in that section. Those pre-directive statements we will cover in this concept. And when you want to describe, when you want to document your programming with the help of inline comments. So when you want to document your program, what you are going to do in the program, if you want to document it, it is possible through inline comments. In that concept, we will study what is a comment and how it are the different types of comments are there. We will study in that concept. And coming to, we will use variables in our programming. Suppose variables means, for example, if we take A and B, generally we will store the values in variables. For example, if you take A equal to 10 and B equal to 20, so we are going to store 20 into B and A into 10 into A. So these are the data values that we are going to store in the variables. Sometimes we will handle the variables. So how we can handle the variables, what is the purpose of variables, that we will study in the concept, and how we can declare the variables also we will study in this concept. And executable statements means what are the executable statements and functions are there when you go for execution of the statements, that we will study. And coming to C tokens, C tokens is nothing but is the main building block of programming language. It will cover different concept. What is a character set? Always we are dealing with in our programming characters. Everything will be treated as a character. If you take a number, it is also a character. If you take a special symbols, it will also a character. So everything characters. So how many characters are there? How many types of character sets are there? That we will cover in this concept. And coming to identifiers and keywords. If you want to identify anything in our programming language, that will be possible through identifiers only. So how we can use the identifiers and what is the purpose of identifiers, that we will cover in this concept. And coming to keywords, keywords are nothing but it is a reserved words. Reserved word means the name itself indicates reserved means there are some predefined words are there. The developers of this particular programming language, they have already defined some predefined words, some reserved words for some purpose. So how many words are there, what is their purpose, how we can use those keywords in our programming, that everything the concept will be covered under the category of keywords. Total I think 32 keywords are there. So everyone we will elaborate in the concept. Coming to type qualifiers and type modifiers. Type qualifiers are nothing but the type qualifiers and type modifiers are these are completely based on the numbers. For example, if you take type qualifier, there are two types of qualifiers are there, constant and volatile. For example, there might be a chance for having some numbers as a fixed. Sometimes there might be a chance for having some numbers, they may be changed during the time. So when you want to use those type of numbers, then you have to declare their type as constant or dynamic or volatile. So this is about type qualifiers, and type modifiers also they have defined in two types, that is nothing but size modifiers and sign modifiers. So size modifiers are again we have a two types. Size modifiers are again we have a different types that we will cover in this concept, and sign modifiers also we have a different type, signed and unsigned. And size also we have a two types. It is completely based on the range of the types, one is short and long. What is this short and what is this long and what is this signed and unsigned? These things we will cover in the concept of type qualifiers and type modifiers. And coming to variables, I have already discussed these variables are used to store the data values in a memory locations. How we can declare, there is any rules are there for declaring those type of variables, that thing we will discuss in this concept. Coming to operators. So I told you operators. Operators are nothing but to perform any operations we need operators. For example, I want to do some addition operation between A and B, then definitely I will need an addition operator called plus. And if you want to go for division, you can simply go for a division operator. So like that, if you want to do any operation between the operands, these are also called as operands and variables. If you want to do any operation among the operands, we must need operators. So how many operators are there? Why we need these operators? I told you our course is mainly focused on solving the problems. So we are going to solve some mathematical problems. Then we need for mathematical operators. So how many types of operators are there? What is an operator? How we can use those operators? Everything will be covered under the concept of operators. Coming to data types. Data types means the name itself indicates what type of data you are using. You know what is a data? It is a collection of raw materials. For example, if you take a character or number, everything will be a data. Okay, so if you go for data types, what are the different types of data types are there? Suppose sometimes the data will be in the number format. Sometimes the data will be in the character or alphabetical format. Sometimes the data will be in the special symbol format. That means plus, slash, question mark, colon. These are called special symbols. So the data will be having different formats. So how we can identify the data? So there are some predefined data types are there. So how many data types are there? How you can use the data types in our programming? That everything will be covered under the concept of data types. Coming to storage classes. Storage classes means these are the classes that will be used to store the data in a particular locations. How we can store the data? How many types of storage classes are there? If you want to store the variable values, how we can store it? So those things will cover under the category of storage classes. Now coming to scope of variable. Scope of variable means if you take any variable throughout the program, for example, I have declared at the top of the program variable. Again, I have declared at the middle of the program variable. I want to access the data from the middle variable to the first variable, top of the variable. So it indicates the location, region, place. So how many, at what position you will declare the variables and how you can access the variables. From which position to which position we are accessing the variables, that region, that space. So how many ways are there for indicating the variables in a program. In how many places we will declare the variables, that we will cover under the concept of scope of variable. And coming to next one, formatted IO. Formatted IO means input output functions. You know what is input and what is output. Input means we are giving some data to the computer. Output means we are getting the data from the computer. So input output, some predefined functions are there for giving reading the data, for getting the data as input and output. Those functions we will discuss in the concept of formatted IO functions. And coming to how we can read the characters and how we can write the characters also, there are some predefined statements are there that we will cover in the concept of data types. So this is completely about unit 1. And coming to unit 2, so unit 2 is completely based on, we are going into the deep of the programming. So we know, I have told you what operators, we are elaborating the operators in second unit. How many types of operators are there? I told you assignment operator. Assignment operator is nothing but equal to. So arithmetic operators, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, like that. Relational operators, if you want to compare the values, so for example, less than, greater than, less than or equal to. Those type of operators. Logical means some logical operators are the logical AND operator, logical OR operator, like that we will follow in the logical operators. Bitwise means if you want to perform operations on the bits, then you go for bitwise operator. Ternary operators are means if you want to compare more than two variables, then you go for ternary operator. Address operator means sometimes if you go for memory locations addresses, then you go for address operators. And indirection operators, then it is applicable for the pointers concept. In that we will use indirection operator. And size of operator means if you want to calculate the size of the data types or variables, then we go for size of operator. And dot operator means this particular operator generally we will use in the pointers concept. And coming to arrow also we will use the pointer concept. So these are the different types of operators that we will use, and every operator will be elaborated in the second unit. And coming to next one, expressions. So I told you, if you take any expression, how to evaluate the expression, and how we can evaluate the expression by following some set of rules, that is called operator precedence, and also having some associative rules. So you know the operator precedence means which will have the highest priority, which will have the lowest priority, and associative means which way, from left to right I have to follow or right to left. These things we will cover under the concept of expressions. And coming to control statements. Control statements are used to check the conditions. So for example, if you go for any traffic signal, if red signal is there, we have to stay. If green signal is there, we have to move, like that. Some condition is there. So in our programming also, sometimes there might be a chance for occurring the conditions. If you want to check the conditions, for example, if you want to calculate biggest number among the three numbers, for example, a value is 10, b value is 20, c value is 30, which is the highest value? Then you have to compare a with b, again a with c, and b with a, b with c, you have to compare. In that comparison, we are checking more than 2 or 3 conditions. Sometimes there might be a chance for checking the conditions. So in that conditions, we will use control statement, conditional statements we will use. And what are the types of conditional statements are there? Selection, iteration, jump, label. So all these statements we will cover in this concept. Next one, coming to unit 3, it is completely based on the storage of data sequentially. So how we have to store the data, how we can store the data sequentially with the help of data structures. There are many different types of data structures are there. In those, one of the data structure is arrays. What is an array? What are the contents of an array? What are the types of an array that we will use that we will cover in this syllabus. How we can declare an array. Array is used to store the data, similar data elements that we can store in our computer to solve the problems or to apply some mathematical operations on the data values. So for that purpose, we will use arrays, and how we can use arrays, how we can declare arrays, also how many types of arrays are there, with examples, that all things we will cover in under this unit. And coming to along with this, when you go for modular programming, at the initial at the beginning of the class I told you modular programming. Sometimes there might be a chance for dividing the program into different modules, different sections based on the user requirements. So when you go for modular programming, you have to use the concept of functions. What is a function? How we can declare these functions, what are the different types of functions, what is a recursive function, what is a non-recursive function, what is a call by value, what is a call by address. All these things we will cover under the category of functions concept. So this is overall third unit we will cover. Coming to fourth unit, this is about purely on strings and pointers. I think all of you know what is a character and what is a string, basic differentiation. For example, if you take C, this is a character. For example, if you take V, it is also a character. For example, if you take collection of characters, that is V, I, G, N, A, and if you take collection of characters, it will be converted into a string. So string is nothing but collection of characters. So you know the character and you know the string. Sometimes there might be a operations that we want to perform operations on strings also. Is it not possible? Yes, it is possible through this unit. So what is a string? What are the how we can declare a string and how we can store a string into an arrays and how we can apply the operations on strings with the help of string library functions, that we will tell you. So how we can declare a string in an array, or how we can declare a string in a normal way, and what are the operations that we perform on string library functions. So for example, I want to reverse this particular string. Is it not possible? Yes, we can apply, we follow different library functions are there, different string operations are there. In that string operation, by using one of the operation, we will reverse the string. For example, I want to convert this small letters into a capital letter. It is not possible. Yes, that thing also we had some function is there. Those type of functions we will cover in this concept string library functions. And how we can store the strings into an array, and how we can apply the operations when we store it into the string into an array, that thing we will cover under the concept of array of strings. So how we can store the strings in a sequential way with the help of data structures, and how we can apply the operations, that we will cover in the concept of array of strings. And coming to command line arguments, when you want to give some any arguments not within the program, if you want to give some any arguments, if you want to execute those arguments through command line, so that concept we will cover under the command line arguments concept. So this is about the fourth unit half part. And coming to another one, this is also important one, pointers. So point is, what is a pointer? It is also normal like variable, but slight differentiation is there. That thing we will discuss in this unit. What is a pointer? How we can declare a pointers, and how it is variant from variables, that we will tell, and how the pointers can be used in the arrays, and how we can use one pointer to another pointer, multiple pointers also how we can use, and how we can access the values through pointers. So all these things we will cover in the concept of pointers. How we can provide the relationship between the pointers to arrays, and also how we can provide the relationship between functions to arrays. So all these things we will cover under the concept of pointers. So not only the pointers, along with we have added one more topic called dynamic memory allocation function. This is also very important concept. That means dynamic means temporarily how we can allocate the memory. Sometimes there might be a need for allocating the memory again. So for that purpose, how we can allocate the memory temporarily, for that context only, how we can allocate the memory, and how we can remove the memory, those things we will cover under the concept of dynamic memory allocation. So this is about fourth unit. We will cover the main concepts of this unit are strings and pointers. So coming to last one, we have fifth unit. So it is completely based on two concepts. One is the structures and another one is the unions. So what is the meaning of structure and what is the meaning of unions? So I think all of you know about arrays. The quite opposite of arrays is nothing but structures. In arrays we will store the data sequentially of similar data types only we can store. But when we sometimes there might be a need for storing the different data types of data also. Then how it is possible? With the help of structures only we can store the different heterogeneous data elements also we can store. For example, I will tell you. For example, through arrays only, suppose we will store numbers only through arrays. Suppose we will store numbers only through arrays. Sometimes there might be a chance for storing the data of not only numbers or characters. If you take address, in that address different data types are there. My name, it is a alphabets, that means characters. My address, my door number, my phone number, all are numbers. My email ID, again alphabets. So all it is a combination of data types, different data, the number or character, whatever it may be. So there might be a chance for storing the different data types of data. Then how we can handle it with the help of structures. So what is that structure? How we can define a structure? Why we need a structure? Those things we will discuss in this unit, and also how we can declare a structure objects, and what are the operations that we can do on the structures, and how we can provide the relationship between the structure to arrays or structure to functions, structure to pointers. So these things, all things we will cover under this concept. Sometimes there might be a chance for declaring a structure within another structure also. That is the concept of nested structures. Nested structures means sometimes there we will declare one structure into another structure. How is it possible? How we can access the members? Those things, all things we will cover in the concept of structures. Coming to unions. I think unions and structures both are like twins. There is no differentiation among their is not there, any differentiation is not there in structures and unions, but slight differentiation is there, that is only the memory allocation. So coming to structures, when you take different data types, it will allocate the memory individually for all the data types of the structure. But coming to unions, if the data types, if you have taken, the data types memory will be allocated commonly for all the data types. So which data type will have the highest priority, that data type memory will be, size will be allocated to all the members of the unions. So you can say union, the general meaning of union is combining. So like that in our unions also, individual members memory will not be allocated, a common memory will be allocated. In that common memory, all the data types and all the variables will be handled to perform any operations. That is the only differentiation is there. Remaining the process what we go for structures is the same process for unions also. And coming to last one, bit fields. Bit fields are nothing but how we can handle, how we can allocate the bits, memory bits, that we will cover this concept. So how we can allocate, how we can perform the operations on the fields of the bits of it, if we take any structure or arrays or variables, whatever it may be, how we can allocate the operations, how we can do some operations on the bits of the memory, then you go for bit fields concept. So this is overall fifth unit. In this, structures and unions are the very important concepts. If you go for programming, if you want to handle different heterogeneous elements, then you have to go for structures and unions concept. So overall, this is the brief introduction about our programming. So what I am going to tell in this video is, so our course is programming for problem solving. It is completely designed, completely incorporated in our curriculum to develop the programming skills to the students by learning the basic fundamentals of programming language called as C language. How the student is going to learn those fundamentals, they will by learning this type of course, they will get the brief idea about how to write the programs and how to design the programs and how to debug the programs and how to test the programs. By following all these concepts, he will clearly get an understand of how to write the programs, and also not only understanding of how to write the programs, he might be able to write, he must have an ability to write a simple, clear, understandable program, and to solve the programs, to solve the problems, he will definitely write in a smarter way to write the programs in order to solve the mathematical or logical problems. So this is about introduction, and if you had any doubt, you can please contact me, and thank you very much for your listening.